Hi, everyone. Welcome to this episode of Evolving Women. Teresa Lisum here with my amazing guest co host, Caren Cooper. Welcome, Caren. So
Thank you,
glad to
Teresa.
have you here.
I'm
We wanted
excited
to
to be
quit.
here.
Yeah, I'm excited you're here as well because I think we're going to have a great conversation. Caren has already been on one episode of Evolving Women. I'll make sure I link it to this episode. So, depending on what we come to here, you might want to go back and check out that episode. Either way, I encourage you to go check her out. Previous, it's been like 2 years
Oh,
since that
yeah.
first episode, I think. But we were talking a little bit about holding back, being visible, being programmed and trained as women to be small, adhere to what everybody else says and keep our voices quiet. And Caren, you were saying,
So I was saying that yes. So I was saying also like I've been assessing like even how I've been showing up on social media, like what I've been saying on social media and the messaging that I've been putting out. And I've been, thinking about that as well. And while all of that is true, right? It's you're too much, you're too this, right? All walking trauma responses, which is we can get into that another time, soon. But at some point, are we conditioned? Has that happened? Are we programmed? Is that a thing? No question, especially for Gen X women, right? It's
mhm,
a lot of us, but like we it's been ingrained in us not be too much and not show up and not speak
yes,
up and apologize for ourselves and all that stuff.
hmm
However, what I was saying was that at some point we also have to take responsibility for the fact that we're continuing to be that way. So it yes, it's this, but also personal responsibility, radical personal responsibility is that yeah, I can keep blaming the conditioning. I can keep blaming an external source, and that's what happened. And it's not to say it's not true, but also I need to look in the mirror and say to myself, okay, yeah, this will happen, but how do I then reprogram and rewire and make the
Cor-
changes necessary to, if I'd
correct.
like to be the person to show up? How do I do that?
Right, right. And I totally agree with you. And I'm not saying to hold on to that blame or that shame, that conditioning, but it's almost like a default mode that we have to like extra, like pull ourselves out of. I can't even say the word, extract ourselves from.
Well, it's so funny. So I have this Facebook group called the Unscrew Yourself Women's Collective, and I put in there, one part of you knows to rest, the other part of you um doesn't want to rest. Which part of you is leading, or something like that. I'm paraphrasing, and someone actually commented, "Well, that's interesting, but a lot of women probably are just running on autopilot." And I
Yes,
was like,
yes.
interesting. So to your point, Teresa, absolutely. It's an autopilot. It's just that's the way I am, right? That's how
Yep.
it shows up. That's just the way I am. So if you're saying that's just the way I am, that is pause for you to say. So now say to yourself, okay, that's just the way I am. Yeah. And it was ingrained and it was this. Great. Yes. And okay, how do I move forward from this?
Love that.
You
So
know
it's
what
that
I'm saying?
awareness. It's that
And is
awareness
this is
piece.
it's the awareness piece 100%. And is
Hmm
this even my belief? So it's like the power of the pause, the awareness, and is this even my belief? Right? Because it's like, I'll give a perfect example. When when I had my daughter almost 25 years ago, I went back to work when she was 10 weeks old. That was fun. And I resented the hell out of my ex-husband for not making enough money for me to stay home.
hmm
Fun fact, in later years, in the unraveling of our marriage, it turns out it wasn't even my belief. Yeah, you'll say
Mm.
it was not even in doing the work. So I teach the work, but I'm also a continuous student as well. And I was like, holy crap, that was men should make more than women, right? How
Yeah.
many of us have heard
Yep.
that?
Yep.
So it was something that I had heard and it just got ingrained in my
Mhm.
body.
Mhm.
And it became a belief that I believed because it was just there.
Yes.
It's the same thing with, it's partly, I'm going to say partly the same thing with holding back and being small. So part of it is ingrained and part of it is there, right? But it's also trauma. It's, we're all walking trauma responses because trauma is not the event that happened. It's what the event did to us. Okay.
Mm.
And what the event, and it could be as simple as someone said, no, you can't play with us on the playground.
Yeah.
And that is a trauma, right? So we decided we suck. We're not worthy. What's wrong
Hmm.
with us?
Right. Right.
And that happened in childhood, but it's still happening in adulthood. So
Hmm.
whatever happened in
Hmm.
childhood is still happening. So all that is, that's just the way you are in a way, right? So
I
it's
remember
all
my mom said that, those exact words. That's just the way I am.
right.
And I was at that point in my life like, no, no, no. Like that was just giving in and not taking an action to change it.
But that, and that's okay too. That's the
Well,
choice.
that's okay. You're right. I wasn't judging, but she
Yeah.
really believed that she could not
Yeah.
be changed. And that's just how she was. It was a personality trait.
Yeah.
And I think me and you both understand and believe, no, it's not. Everything's changeable if you so choose.
We're malleable. So I mean,
Hmm.
we can change if we're willing. That's the thing is, if you're willing to do that, right? If you're
Hmm.
holding back, if you're in a place where you're stuck, you want to call it stuck, or you feel you're made for more, like like you're just in this vortex of, I know I'm not loving what I'm doing. I know I'm made for more. That's the, I know I'm made for more. That's partly the willingness, the knowing that you don't want to be where you are anymore.
Hmm. Right. Which we all come to at some point in our lives. There seems to be a point, I don't know the exact age,
Midlife, it's usually
but
it's usually
midlife,
midlife.
yes, you're right, where all of the surviving is behind us and the taking care of everybody else is behind us.
Right.
And now we can look forward with some
Yeah.
intention and do something for ourselves and for the world. And but it's just comical to me whenever I have these conversations with women such as yourself. We all come to that. It's just like consistent across the board. I don't know what it's like with guys because I talk to women for the most part, but it just kind of makes me giggle like, oh, okay, yeah, there it is. You came to
And we
that
call it an
conclusion.
identity, right? It's called an identity crisis, and
Mhm.
it's like a whole thing. And the fact of the matter is like I think it's a revolution. I think it's a reclamation, quite frankly. Right?
Mhm.
I feel like you go to school, you go to college, you get a job, you get
Yep.
married, you have 2.5 kids, you have the white picket,
Yes.
check, 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 check.
Yes,
And
yes, yes.
achievement and everything is outside of you, and you're running and you're chasing and you're
Yes.
going and you da, da, da,
Yep.
and you're in survival mode and you don't even realize it.
Yes.
You don't even realize you're white
Exactly.
knuckling your way through life because it's just normal,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And then at a certain point, burnout is just like, holy shit, I can't keep up with this
Mm-hmm.
anymore. And
Mm-hmm.
it's also like, it's also like sometimes you have children, it's maybe a transitional period, right? And I guess the reason why, my take is that the reason why it happens in midlife is, it's your kids are older, right? In my case, there's maybe
Mm-hmm.
a transition of an unraveling of a marriage. My kids are older, unraveling of a marriage, and
Yeah. Yeah.
some sort of transition is happening in your life in some way, shape, or form, and you're starting to question
Mm-hmm.
everything that you've done, and you realize, wait, I was playing some by the rules of someone else's game.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Love
we were
that.
talking about. So, like, yes, the patterning, the programming, the conditioning, or I talked about this in my TED talk too. My TED talk was about how to raise curious kids. And I talked about like when we were kids and we were like, laughing so hard, repeating our pants, or, there was lava on the floor and we were jumping from couch to couch and stuff like that. And then it was like, no, you're too this and too much and stop doing that. You may blah, blah, blah. And like, so that came at us and we stopped being fun.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
part of what I talked about. And it lends to all what we're talking about because that was ingrained. So yes, is it ingrained? Yes, but it's also, we're now, wait a minute. This, no, I can't, I don't want to continue living like this anymore. But
So what
the holding back, but you don't know how to get out of it.
so what I'm hearing you say, it's almost like don't use that as an excuse.
Well, I'm not trying to shame anything, but it's the reality. The reality is that that's what happened. But I'm also saying it's you can't continue to say we were programmed, we were this, we were that, and use it as a crutch.
As a crutch. That's a better word
It's a better
than an
word. You know
excuse. Yeah.
what? I was programmed to do this. This was ingrained in me. Yes, yes,
hmm
absolutely true. Do you want to make any changes in your life? Are you
hmm
holding yourself back in so many shape or form, or not even holding yourself back? Are you in a position right now where you're like, I know I should be doing the thing. I did a post today about self-sabotage, and I can't do the thing and whatnot. And if you're in that type of position, that means your nervous system is literally trying to keep you the same and try to keep you safe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's also how do you create safety in your nervous system if you don't know how? Well, that's when you talk to me.
Correct.
But you know what I'm saying? That's the work I do. But that's what I mean by not using it as a crutch, because it's like, yes, all of these things happen, but they're data. It's used to be as
Mm,
data, right? So
love
yes,
that.
this was programmed, this was ingrained, this all this happened. And yes, I live my life in this way, but now I'm
hmm
here. So I
I,
did all these things. Do I want to keep repeating the pattern?
right.
And you have free agency. If you want to, God bless and Godspeed. If you don't,
hmm
then changes can be made.
I love that. Using that as data, as information to make a change, make a course correction, try
Right,
something new.
right.
I love that. That kind of detaches it from emotion.
In a way, it does. And here's the thing, what I found with myself, my clients, is this. You want to show yourself some compassion for, because listen, you got to where you are, right? You had some success, right? You
Yes,
may have
yeah.
felt like you held together by tape on the inside, but you've had some success in life in so many shape or form, right? You know, and you're here now. So yes, there's compassion for what happened, and but also there can be anger, there can be emotions tied to it, but there's no shame. It's looking at it non-judgmentally and say, okay, this happened, I'm not thrilled about a certain aspect that happened, feel the feelings and the emotions that come up from it, and then it's like, okay, how do we move forward and understand the biology of it? So the biology of it in just layman's terms is this: our nervous system is the command center, literally the command center, right? So you didn't know it. I didn't when it was going on with me. We were in survival mode. We were white knuckling and we were just
hmm
hanging on for dear life, right? So
Yeah,
you
yeah,
can build something, but it's not sustainable from that. And what literally the nervous system is designed to do is keep you safe and keep you the same. That's it.
yes.
That's its one job. And this is biology,
hmm
right? So yay, our nervous system is working the way it's supposed to work. So that's why it is just the way it is. That's why we feel that way. So the minute we want to do things that we didn't do before, right? I.e., we're holding ourselves back from making the phone call, and we go to make the phone, and we want to go make the phone call, but our nervous system doesn't understand the difference between perceived danger or actual danger. So
hmm
what the nervous system does, it's like I do it like this. It's like the border patrol. It's like, oh my God, she's moving, she's moving, she's moving. It's called the zone of familiarity in my world, right? We call it the zone of familiarity, and you're in the middle here in the zone, and you're familiar zone, and you're trying to go out, and your nervous system is like the border patrol. Holy shit, she's moving. I don't know what to do. She's moving. We don't have any evidence of this. Oh my God, what are we gonna do? And it's freaking the F out, right? Literally,
Yeah,
the nervous
yeah.
system, and throwing what I say, everything at the kitchen sink at you to basically keep you the same and safe because it
Yeah,
thinks you're in
yeah.
danger. So it's literally doing its job, right? And so so it really, the key is like, thanks so much. It's
And,
fear. It's basically
uh,
fear, right? But a lot of times people see that like, oh, and I'm just going to go back. Well, the key is partly to welcome it. But like, if you
mhm.
know that, then it's like, okay, cool. Now I understand.
Right, right. Yeah, and thank you. I was just going to say the same thing. It's almost like be thankful, be grateful that it is doing its job, and having that understanding. Okay, okay, thank you very much, but I'm going to do the thing anyway. Even though I know I'm afraid and you're trying to keep me afraid, I know I got to do that thing. I'm going for it. Let's hang on and go.
Well, change happens at the speed of safety. So it's like you do
Mm,
the thing and you make it safe. So it's like do this thing and make it safe.
yeah, that's good. I
That's
like
how
that.
change is.
I like that. So you're taking these, I call them baby steps. Baby
Mhm.
step, feel good, push the comfort zone, baby step, create that safety, baby step. So you're baby stepping your zone outward.
Exactly.
Yeah, I love
Yeah.
that. And I just want to quickly get back to the identity crisis. It's almost like we need to change that word from crisis to something else. Like, well, I think it's
Evolution. It's the work
evolution.
I do.
Yes,
It's an identity
evolution.
evolution. And in reality, you're coming home to yourself. You're coming home to
Mm,
who you were before the world told you who to be, is really what,
yes,
you know what I mean?
exactly.
In essence, it's not a crisis. And what I found interesting and just in my observation, everything is catastrophized, right? Media and everything is like this, like it's like we're living in doomsday. And listen,
Yes.
yeah, I know the world is the world. Okay. But it's like not everything is it's just not. You're not you're in between. You're this old version of yourself who did what you did to get to where you are, and
Hmm, hmm.
now there's a someone else here. There's a version of yourself that you were before all that, right? And it's like you're in this vortex, so to speak. It's literally what it is. So it's not a crisis. It's a reclamation. It's a coming home. It's a, oh my God, I'm done. It's a, it's like, oh my God, it's like you should be, I shouldn't say should because we don't should myself. It's like, oh my God, it's a reclamation. It's like, oh my God, I'm done doing what I'm doing. I'm
Hmm.
ready, willing to do something else. Yay.
Yeah,
And it
yeah,
doesn't feel like
celebration.
it's a celebration and it does
Hmm.
because it does. You're mourning and grieving the old version of you. You're mourning and grieving who you were and all of these things. That happens too. And does it feel like you're being pulled in millions of directions? Does it feel good all the time? Hell no. It doesn't. But that's the reality. But it's not a crisis. It's a reclamation. It's an evolution.
I love that. And
You
just
have to do
changing,
different things.
well, just changing that perspective gives you more power over it or more ability to move forward with it,
Right.
with that understanding, that perception change.
Right.
And sometimes that's all it takes.
Exactly.
Hmm. And
Exactly. And the thing is with the perception, when going back to the nervous system, when you are in such survival mode and white knuckling, you can't see your way out of things.
right, right.
Think about that, right? How many times have you been at the computer working at something or looked for something and you can't find it? And then when you walk away and you came back, you solved the issue.
Right,
It's
right.
literally the same exact thing. It's your perception.
Hmm. Oh my gosh. So many things to unpack here. I want to get back to belief because it was only recently, I'm going to say in the last few years, how I realize how important belief is. I mean, we throw that word around a lot. I don't know if we fully understand it or the power of it, but I've learned that belief is basically underlying everything, all of our decisions, all of our thoughts, and if you could change that belief, then everything else will change above that. But it took me a long time to understand that, oh my God, that is true when you really think about it. So if you
Where,
believe you're stuck, you're stuck.
yes, our thoughts. Our mind is, it's funny. We should not believe our mind because my mentor Tracy Litt says thoughts are opinions, not facts. Thoughts are options, not facts. Which I'm like obsessed with that. I take no credit. Tracy Litt, just saying that's not a me thing because our thoughts and that it's like thoughts, feelings, you know, action and results. That's how it works, right? So our belief is it's our frequency. We work also on a frequency, right? So I'm gonna have a
Hmm.
bad day.
Yep.
What do you think is gonna happen? You're gonna have a bad day, right? Think about that.
Yes.
You
Yes.
literally attract, right, who you are,
Yes.
literally.
Yes.
And so the belief is I'm stuck, I'm this, I'm whatever, on a net, and it's, it's a disempowered state, so to speak. That's
Hmm.
what's ingrained in you, and that's what you're going to think and believe and put out into the world.
And it will play out for you.
And it will play out
Yes,
for
in
you.
that
You are
way.
exact
Yes,
match, and it will
yes.
play out for you
Hmm.
100%. And so that is one of the core things you work on immediately when you work with me in my program, is in fact understanding the beliefs that you are currently believing, and then we actually have a belief store that you go into and you shop for new beliefs,
Oh,
literally,
I love
that you
that.
shop for new
Love
beliefs.
that.
But it's also a matter of, you can't go from I'm terrible and I'm not good at X. And you don't even
Hmm.
realize that half the time that you speak to yourself, the way you're speaking to yourself also.
Yes,
So you're thinking and you're believing this about yourself. I'm stupid, I'm this, oh, I can't believe I did that.
yes.
Right. And a lot of times it just comes out of you and you don't even think about it. So we do
Hmm.
what's called bridge beliefs, right? It's like I am willing to believe. I am, so it's like,
Mm.
because the whole thing is like it's in, talking about ingrained, it's feeling. It's all about the feeling. And
Again, there's that perception change again. I am willing to believe something different about
right,
myself.
right,
Just putting those couple of extra
yeah,
words in there.
yeah. Because it's literally actively changing your inner world by doing so.
Which we have to believe that is true. That is possible, I should say.
Well, it is. I don't listen. You don't have to believe it's possible. I can tell you know what I mean. It's possible. Again, it's all about free agency. It is possible, whether or not you want to or believe it. That's completely up to you.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, we all have those choices to make. I love, make sure I said this right. You said our thoughts are opinions. They're not facts.
The options.
They're
Yeah,
not,
Tracy like
they're
said that.
options, options.
Options, not bad.
Thank you. Again, a perception change, a perspective
Yeah.
change. It's just a little tweak.
It's a little tweak, and it's also, I think, a deeper understanding of what's actually going on inside of us. Because a lot of us, and I know I can speak for myself for real, I didn't realize it before I started the inner work, like what actually was going on. So I think it helps to understand why we've been the way we have and what happened, and understanding the deeper meaning of everything, because then it's like, okay, it makes sense.
So we have the awareness, then we have the understanding,
Hmm.
and then you make the decision to make a change.
Yeah, yeah. And you actively regulate, you actively, there's a lot of, nervous system regulation. There's a, actively changing your biology in a way of your body, right? You're no longer living in survival mode. You're no longer white knuckling it. You're no longer, because there's also emotional addictions that happen, right? We're addicted to chaos. We don't even realize it. Same thing. We're
Mm-hmm.
addicted to we keep doing the same thing and over and over again. It's the same thing. Like I was addicted to cigarettes for a long time, you know, and it's the same thing. We have these emotional addictions that we stay to because it's what we know and what feeds us, it feeds us, the dopamine that we need, the hit that we need, right? So it's
Right,
a
right.
matter of, understanding that as well, right? So it's the emotional addictions. It's like, it gets to be easy, but it doesn't feel good in your body because it's like, I don't know what this means. I don't know what this feels like. So it
Mm-hmm.
feels horrific making the change at first because it's so you're like, I said about the nervous system, it's so unfamiliar. It's literally, to your point about perception change, it's about making the unfamiliar familiar and the familiar unfamiliar. It's
Mm.
literally a swap. It's a perception change in that regard.
I'm going to ask you to talk more about the nervous system regulation. You've already mentioned it multiple times. And I know that was a new phrase for me, literally like in the last couple of years again, that seemed to come into the mainstream, at least my mainstream. And so, can you explain more about that for our listeners who may not
Yes.
be familiar with that?
I will, and I want to add a funny story to that. So I was at a dinner a couple of weeks ago with a bunch of women, and we introduced ourselves and what we do. And I had mentioned nervous system regulation. I had mentioned somatic work, and I do
Hmm.
that and whatnot. And she was just like, she went to school for like acupuncture, like all these different types of things. She was so irritated at the fact that like I, as a life coach, was talking about somatic.
Oh, you were
It was
encroaching on her
hysterical.
territory.
It was so funny. She's like, I went to school for this, and I was like, and I was like, and my response was to her, I hear you. I totally get that. And I'd be pissed also, except for the fact that like I didn't know that was the thing. So there are people like myself who didn't know what somatics was, who didn't know nervous
Hmm.
system
Yeah, me
regulation,
too.
who didn't
Me too.
understand, you know what I'm saying? So when I say that,
Hmm.
to her, she's like, oh, that makes, I'm saying, you know all this, that is a lot of people don't. And in
Right.
essence, what it means is, even when I say survival mode, you're jacked up. You're basically jacked up and you're like pissed off all the time and you're like yelling at people all the time and you're very short tempered. And that's what survival means, right? And in layman's terms, right? And you're just like all the time. And so what nervous system regulation and it's really all about calming your body. That's what it
Mm.
is. And there are various ways to do so. But we've been talking about perception change and your nervous system being the command center. When you're all jacked up, the nervous system has the power. When you're regulating and
Mm.
it's mind body connection. It's really what it boils down to. A lot of us were walking around with our like head up, and that's it, neck
Yeah.
up,
Yeah.
and that
Yep.
was it. And the work I do is about mind body connection. So it's really working together and somatically together, systematic together to do so. So nervous system regulation is just when you're feeling jacked up, when you're going to do the thing that is different than what you do. It's like you do breath work, for example, like people a lot that's been prevalent, and whatnot. You dance, you move your body.
Hmm.
There's various tools you have. Give yourself an orgasm. There's various ways to regulate your nervous system, and it's not one size fits all. And in the moment, it could be anything like humming.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? So there's
Yeah.
various ways to do so. And when you're in tune with your mind and body, it's it'll tell you what it wants to do in that moment. And then you go do that. So if it's dancing, you dance around. One of the favorite things is dancing around with your eyes closed, right? Because you're just listening to music, you do breath work, you do humming, whatever it is your body's saying to do, you do that because then you'll calm your body, and that's creating a safety in your body. And
Mm.
telling your body, I know you think we're in danger. Nope, we're safe. Let's work together and do this.
Well, I think what you said right there is letting your body know that it's safe, which lets your mind know that it's safe. Because you're right, we're in this stressful state and we don't think we're safe and things are out of control. And so yeah, it all comes back to safety. But in my thoughts, you're intentionally telling your body, your mind that it is safe. You're choosing to do that yourself, like you're almost parenting yourself.
Exactly, you
Okay,
are. You're reparenting yourself.
yeah, and okay, time to calm down. Whatever that be, tapping, like you said, breathing,
Mhm.
dancing, moving, shaking, whatever. It's like I would suggest having a couple of those techniques in your back pocket that you can go to on a regular basis as a starting point.
Yes,
If you like to dance, that's your go-to initially. Do some dancing in the moment to bring yourself back down,
yes,
calm yourself, assure yourself that you're safe in that moment.
yes. Exactly.
Hmm.
Exactly.
And then like you said, it'll grow from there and you'll kind of know after a point in time. But when you said like running around with like your head cut off and like that's how I operated for most of my life. It was like all up here and I was always thinking and figuring things out and to connect to my body was like a new thing. I mean, it's still not far from where I was originally, but I'm learning to have more respect for the body, what it needs, and how everything's connected.
Right. That's amazing. And how has that changed you?
And I've become more peaceful and more calm and more
Okay,
centered, which gives me more clarity of thought.
exactly.
Whereas before it was just all like up here
Right. We're
and
all
my
over the place.
thoughts were not always clear. And now I'm more balanced. I think we all are trying to get to that state of balance and we might
Yeah,
not know how to get there.
yeah, exactly. You hit the
So,
nail on the head there.
so somatic, it was a new word to me too. Like, what does this somatic thing mean? Like, I don't even know
Body
what they're talking
movement.
about, you
Body
know?
movement.
Well, but these concepts have been around, but people put new labels to them and use them in new ways.
Yes.
So it's always been something that people into yoga and that type of thing, they've already been doing it. It's just that now, when again, more mainstream, I'll say. It's just
Yep.
being brought in with a new label on it and a new way of doing it. But it's not really new. Just like everything else. Nothing's really new. We just repackage it.
Fair. It's like everything old is new again. You know what I mean?
Exactly, exactly. Which is good because I forget a lot of things, and I like to be brought back around to remind myself, like you remind me, somebody else reminds me of something else. Like because we have so many things vying for our attention. It is
Yeah.
easy to forget these tools and these resources that we do have available to
Yeah.
ourselves.
I forgot the exact number, but like our reticular activating system, which is really what when all the things are coming at us,
Yep,
it,
yep.
it's what holds all the information. And I forgot the exact number of thoughts. So like we have like I'm gonna make a number up. Let's just say 300,000 thoughts that come at us a day, but
Yes,
our
yes,
RAS can only handle like 40.
yes, yes.
So just think about that for a hot second.
I know. No, you're exactly right. Your numbers may be off, but it is a huge amount of information
Right.
that we're receiving through our senses, through our brain. I mean, through so many ways, especially now with the internet and so much data content coming at us in different ways.
Right.
And like you said, our brain can only retain or focus on a minuscule amount
Mhm.
of what's coming at us, which makes it even more necessary to do the nervous system regulation, I think.
And I want to actually, so I just thought of something that about the nervous system regulation again. And I talked that this was kind of my overarching theme in my TED talk too, is fun.
Mm-hmm.
So I to
Hmm.
your point about nervous system regulation and just in general and things being ingrained, circling back to all that, right? Like we were having fun and like, oh my God, fun is a beautiful, beautiful way to regulate your nervous system.
Hmm.
And it could be, and it could be coloring in a coloring book. It could be
Yes,
things
yes.
that are very childlike, blowing bubbles and things like that. Right?
Hmm.
It
Hmm.
could very well be these types of things um, that help regulate. So I just
Oh,
wanted to
yes, thank you. Those things that we
say that.
thought we were supposed to give up from childhood, we didn't think we were supposed to bring them into adulthood. But no, we can do them.
And I would say go watch my TED talk, but I started my TED talk with I don't want to grow up. I'm a Toys R Us kid,
I
and I did my TED talk with what if that wasn't a jingle, but that was the way forward.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Love that. And
Right.
we will include that link in with the show notes. Okay. So make
Mhm.
sure you send that over to me. Um, I love our conversation. We could go on for another hour, I think, but we'll try to, wrap it up now. And is there any like final parting words and of wisdom you want to share with our listeners?
Can we just stop saying we're broken?
Love that.
Like, I know the unworthiness wound, and I know we're not good enough wound, and I understand that leads us a lot of the times. Um, but none of us are broken. And it's funny,
Mm.
someone literally just sent this to me right before we started today about disco balls, because I'm the disco ball coach and I love disco. But a disco ball is made up of millions of broken pieces and makes a disco ball.
Mm.
So nobody's broken but your disco ball. So that's what literally someone just sent to me. But like we think we're broken and what's wrong with us,
Yeah.
and we
Yeah.
make it about us. And I love you
Yes.
all, but it has nothing to do with us. It's what happened to us, what transpired, what's happened around us that shaped us in a way. And now we get to say, hey, I'm going to leave that all behind and shine like the disco ball that we all are. Because
Love
fun
that.
fact, we're all worthy, we're all enough, and we're all
Yes.
fucking fabulous.
Yes.
Just as
Amen
we
to
are.
that, sister. Yay. And if someone wants to get a hold of you, how can they do that?
Social at the social media channels. I am Caren Cooper, Caren Cooper on all of LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. Connect with me, shoot me a message telling me that you've heard me here. I can send you, if you want, talk about nervous system regulation. I have a free guide about
Mm.
different tools about nervous system regulation for high achieving women that I can send you. So yeah, just reach out and touch someone if you know that commercial. And that's how I operate. And just, yeah, let's chat. I love to just chat with you.
Thank you so much. And maybe we can include that link to that free guide
Mhm.
as well in the show
Yeah,
notes. So
yeah.
we will definitely put Karen's contact information and those links in with this description so you can go check her out. And I want to thank you so much, Karen, for coming and speaking with us today. I want to thank you for showing up in the world and being visible, being yourself, doing your dancing out there, and just no apologies. You're an inspiration. So thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I received that. Thank you.
And everybody who's been listening, if you feel that this has been an episode you want to share with somebody you love, please share it. Check out Karen's previous episode. And of course, I have to throw my little sign in here because I always forget. So I have to how to make a sign. So,
Okay.
do all the things and subscribe. It's free. And we'd love to hear your comments. So throw something in the comments and let us know what your thoughts are. Thank you so much, everybody listening in. Thank you, Karen. And I look forward to another episode of Evolving Woman. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.